I came across a video of a musical artist slash producer by the name of T-Pain, and he was doing an interview with Shannon Sharp, aka Club Shay Shay, where he was talking about his recent business decision that he made, and it basically inspired me to do the topic today because it reminded me of something that I was able to witness at a young age, living in a musical household, where I noticed that this is a mistake a lot of musical artists make, and very few take a different path. And what I'm talking about is, T-Pain was bragging to Club Shay Shay about selling his catalog. I don't know all of the ins and outs about what entitles selling your full catalog, but I have a somewhat of an understanding that it has something to do with your musical properties, whether it be something you produced, something you sang on or rapped on, anything that you have done musically. When you sell that catalog to someone, a rich investor or whatever the case, they pretty much own your work. They can use your music for movies, they can use it for a commercial, whenever they see fit. And based on how you negotiate with them, they can either take all of the proceeds going forward or a certain percentage of it. But in a lot of cases, people sell their whole catalog. And I was able to experience this in a sense because my stepfather was a famous entertainer, and he was getting his little royalty checks every year from music that he produced on, sang on, wrote on, and it was all his hard work. He put in them hours in the studio, putting pen to pad, working with engineers, calling in musicians, people, trumpet players, bass players, guitar players, keyboard players, singers, background singers, featured artists, rappers. It's a lot of work, to have these albums come out and just to produce sometimes just one track. And then in one decision, you can sell off that whole catalog, and all your work, is pretty much summed up in that one check. And you have to make the decision. Do you take the long road, the long path of getting your residual checks? It may not be 15, 20 million a year. It could be 100,000, 200,000 a year for the rest of your life, for your rest of your career. Or do you sell your whole catalog, like, say, for instance, in T-Pain's case, because he's talking like he done got somewhere ups of, $100 million or something like that. And what I notice is that hopefully my audio is coming through good. My bad. What I notice is that, people, when they get a hold of that kind of money they ain't never touched before, hundreds of $1 million or $40 million, something like that, they start spending up bread that, they had never been spending before because they got it. But I noticed T-Pain, man, he buying up a lot of toys. He bought a plane. And he's really excited, man. He was bragging about, yeah, we rich. Bragging to his wife and all of that. And I know he does pretty well. I heard he makes a lot of money from his gaming that he does, streaming. And that's okay. But something that was really your bread and butter, which is the music aspect, it's like once you burn off all of that bread, you know, if he don't make the right investments, he might regret it. You know, I remember seeing my stepfather in his situation where, man, it was like, we rich, man. You know, in the 90s, man, I remember us pulling up at the school with excursions, and moms had the nice Honda Accord Gold Edition. You know, in the 90s, that shit was official. You know, Pops got the Mercedes and shit. Buying up all type of stuff, man. You know, renovating the house and putting new tile down, and we rocking new fresh Pele at school and shit. And people looking like, where the fuck y'all get that from? You know, stepfather just bringing home boxes of clothes, man. New shit that ain't ever came out. So I ain't seen the spoils of somebody selling a catalog, you know, and experiencing, touching that level. Like, damn, boy, we done made it. But then also I seen how fast the money went, and how once the money got spent, the bills still remain. You know, and now them residual checks that you used to getting every year, maybe 100,000, 200,000, you missing out on that because you didn't got excited. And people in the culture, especially in our culture, once we get a little bit of taste of that money, we get excited. You know, we want to stunt. We want to show off. We want to brag. You know, that's our culture. That's our curse, basically. When we get some shit, we don't know how to act. We want to show off and brag in front of everybody's face. We want to buy all of the newest shit. We want to give all of the designers, make them richer. You know, don't want to fuck with the, you know, the new up in clothing designers and shit. They want to keep giving the money to all the damn high-end designers. You know, they go to Johnny Dang and all the motherfuckers, give them all the money. You know, smile with them and shit. And then from there, you know, they feeling good because of, they feel like they did what everybody else was, what they couldn't do. What they seen everybody else able to do all them years. Now they're like, I want to do that shit now. You know, if it's females, they want to buy Chanel, Prada, Gucci, Louis, you know, Apple, you know, all that shit that they want to do once they get some bread. And next thing you know, that money is gone, man. Burnt off. Promotions, man. So I hope that T-Pain is making some smart investments, man. Because I've seen this before. I've seen someone get to a level where they got everything, man. It's just like, ain't no way you gonna go broke after this shit. And I've seen motherfuckers go broke after having a lot. You know, just out of excitement and trying to impress people. And that's what I noticed about T-Pain. Seemed like he be, you know, he wanted to impress his mom and shit. He got the plane. We got a plane. You know, make cool. That's cool, man. Not hating on it. Maybe you can afford it, but sometimes you can go overboard with it. Just trying to impress people. Trying to live out, trying to get to a status level so people can look at you like you something different than everybody else. You know, people keep chasing status, and ego's a hell of a drug. But, you know, some people have taken different paths, man. I've seen certain people in the culture, like case in point, he comes to mind. His name is Jason Weaver. He was the voice for Lion King, the first Lion King, original Lion King animated film that came out. And he had a good mother that kept him grounded. It didn't encourage him to just sell his catalog, you know, all his work. He like, no, I'm gonna collect residuals off my work. That man still get paid to this day off that movie because he had a smart mom. He did good business and he never sold out. He never just gave somebody all the rights to his shit and to where they can eat off him for the rest of his life and he can't eat off it for the rest of his life. Jason Weaver said, no, I'm gonna eat off this for the rest of my life. Because what a lot of them would do, they'll give you a whole bunch of money up front. Because they know that you're not smart enough to see down the line what you're worth or what your catalog is worth. And I'm sure T-Pain's catalog is worth, you know what I mean, a killing for them to just give him 100 million. So, like I said, it's something that I've seen in the culture. I've seen a lot of people, you know, they sell their catalog and be hoping to get it back, what was it, 30, 40 years. And by the time that 30-year mark come around, they die mysteriously. Pay attention. All you got to do is research this shit. A lot of them be waiting around and collect they dues, you know, hope to get their little bread. And a lot of them, man, never see that money. You know, Angie Stone, you know, D'Angelo, a lot of people get ready to hit that 30-year mark where they get ready to collect. And they never make it, man. They never make it. So T-Pain, with all the fun that he's having, hopefully he being smart, making some smart investments. It's a lot of money, but he put in a lot of work. And his catalog is worth a lot more money than what they gave him. You know? So that's one thing I wanted to do today, was give my thoughts on this particular topic and how in the industry, the music industry, or just even the movie industry or whatever, you know, these people sometimes don't have their legal situation together and they don't understand the business. And people with investors, you know, they see how much they worth and willing to pay them a certain fee for them to sell everything, you know, give up all the rights to their intellectual property, their musical property, all of that. And then next thing you know, years later, they talking about how they was robbed and all that. And a lot of times they just be doing bad business and don't have the patience to, you know, play the marathon, the long game. A lot of them want to get that shit and they want to stunt and live a fast life and get it right now. So that's really all I got for this one, man. Y'all give y'all thoughts on today's topic. You know, hopefully y'all got something from it. Once again, I'm the Black Horseman. Shout out to the ones that caught the playback. And shout out to the True Media Movement, man. We on to the next.